Welcome viewers, back on the subject of the hidden consequence. Women begin negotiating with their law, not their conscience. And we got to the point where we put the focus on legal enforceability rather than moral preference. This is what these women are up against. They're up against legal enforceability under the law rather than moral preference, which appears to be the distinction we're trying to draw. Legal enforceability under the law rather than moral preference. So the boundary was not erased, but it may no longer defend itself. That's what they've done. Morally, the boundaries are there, but the law no longer defends those boundaries. And I hope I'm making sense, because this is what you're up against. Many women are arguing from morality. The courtroom argues from law, and that's the collision. The law may not have explicitly removed every female boundary, but it has changed the legal conditions under which that boundary must now be defended. And the central issue is not whether women believe that the boundary should exist. We all know it should exist. The central issue is whether the boundary remains legally defensible when challenged by someone already protected under gender identity discrimination law. And this is where Anna Cody has completely just gone masterpiece horror story with it. Masterpiece horror story. Transgender people do possess legal protections under the Sex Discrimination Act, including protections against discrimination based on gender identity. And the Act applies across areas including services, facilities, employment, accommodation, education, and access to places. Teaching point number 1. The law did not simply say no boundaries, right? It didn't simply say that. And the mistake is assuming the law openly announced women-only boundaries are gone. And that's not usually how legal change works. The deeper shift is subtler. The boundary may still appear to exist in public language, public policy language, social expectation, but once gender identity protections enter the legal framework, the boundary must survive a legal test. And that means the question changes. Not, is this morally fair to women, which is what everybody's asking, but can this exclusion be justified under anti-discrimination law? Teaching point number 2. Transgender rights already exist under the 2013 amendments. And this must be stated clearly. Transgender people are not outside the law. They are not legally invisible, and this is what we're seeing. They already possess recognised protections against gender identity discrimination since the 2013 amendments. The Federal Sex Discrimination Act has included protections for gender identity, sexual orientation, and intersex status. And people go, why? The reason why is because somebody in the Parliament got past morality and put in these amendments. And that means women cannot build a legal argument as though transgender protections do not exist. And the stronger argument is not denial. The stronger argument is collision. We keep having this collision, and guess who keeps winning? The transgenderists, because they're protected by the law. Women's privacy, dignity, safety, sex-based services and biological realities are being tested against already existing gender identity protections since 2013. Look, where is it there? 2013. Teaching point number 3. We just haven't had the collision. This is the collision now. We want the lot. The transgenderists want the lot. They want everything they can get, the lot. Not some, the whole lot. The women are saying, we'll give you 70%, 75%, we'll even give you 80% of whatever you want that we've got, but don't take our privacy. And they're going, we want the lot. The transgenderists want the lot. We want everything that you've got, and we want the lot. And the women are going, just leave us 10%, our privacy. And the transgenderists are going, we want everything. And that's the danger of demoralizing law. That's the danger of demoralizing anything. To assume that this was all going to work out in an integral way, which is what they did in 2013, was foolishness, because human nature respectfully degenerates without restraint. It just degenerates. Many women assume if it says women only, that means biological women only, but not anymore. The courtroom may ask, what does woman mean under the statute? Well, Anna Cody's made a horror story out of it, but legally she's right. I can go and apply for a job the way I am and say I'm female and I want pregnancy holiday money. So what does woman mean under the statute? What protected attribute is being relied upon? Is the exclusion direct discrimination? Is it indirect discrimination? Is there an exemption? Well, is there a special measure? Is the boundary proportionate? Now, they did ask Anna Cody what particular exemptions are there, and one of the examples was, well, what if you're in a woman's hostel and you've got a bloke that's saying he's a woman, wants to come into the hostel? In the end, Anna Cody just said, ring the police. She's more or less just said the law is going to put you in a position where you'll need to ring the police. And even if you ring the police and they can't prove that you're not being discriminative, you're going to get in trouble again as the owner of the hostel. So the law, right, this anti-discrimination law, it hasn't worked out, because the transgenderists are forcing themselves past boundaries that were assumed when they put the law in wouldn't be crossed just out of integrity. But what you've got to understand is, by nature, integrity disintegrates where there's immorality. So it's disintegrated to the point now where women are trying to show moral, but they're being punished for it, because the law, when they put it in out of, what they call it? Suicidal empathy for the transgenderists, they put it in, because when you want something, you're going to behave well. And they got what they wanted, and then they degenerated. Just let us in the door. Just let us in the door. They got in the door and have degenerated to the point where they're intruding and invading spaces that morally the law didn't expect that they would. You've got to grasp, you've got to understand the underlying problem with it all. Yeah. So, is the boundary proportionate? Is the exclusion legally necessary? And this is why the boundary cannot simply be presumed. It has to be argued. But it wasn't argued when they put in the 2013 law. It was based on a presumption that the transgenderists would remain respectful, right, as far as it depended on them, to women's privacies. But they were never going to be able to, because immorality, right, motive, immorality, the ones that were genuine were always going to be overtaken by the ones that just enjoy that space, be it deviancy or not, perversion or not. It was always going to be an overtake. It's the same with Islam, right? It's exactly the same with Islam. Islam will behave covertly. Overtly it's behaving, right? And every now and then you'll get the fanatic ruin it for the rest of them that are trying to behave. But the big picture of Islam is an overtake. They want to overtake. You just have to admit it. That's what they want to do. Slowly but surely. It's taken 13 years for this law, 2013 Gillard law, to manifest to the point where it is now. It might take another 10, 20, 30 years for Islam to manifest, but it'll manifest. Oh, it'll manifest. It's just how it works. Anyway, I'll come back with teaching point number 4, the Tiggle versus Giggle, expose the problem, in the next episode.